All right, this episode, on this episode of the Becoming Less podcast, we have Brooke. A nice warm welcome from Brooke.
Yes, thank you.
I'm definitely keeping that in there because I feel
You should.
it's the most awkward intro, but not for us this time.
Not for you.
Not for me. And praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. I finally made one.
There you go.
That was not completely painful for myself.
You just needed another awkward person to lead it in.
Yep. It's like I tell junior high students, like, oh, I'm embarrassed of going into this small group. Trust me, you won't be the most embarrassing person in that room.
That's why they need you.
Yeah. I would pull a Billy Madison in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty crazy.
I wish I knew that reference, but I don't.
There's a kid, he's pretending to be in like third grade at the time, and the kid pees his pants on the field trip, and so he pees his pants.
Got you. Okay.
In order to not let the kid be alone.
Yes.
So please nobody do that, so I don't have to be like practice what I preach.
Alec 1 year ago today talked about
yes.
Billy Madison Alec.
Oh no, that would be a nightmare. That might be more embarrassing than what he's actually he caught some strays in the last podcast, so I love it. I love it. Yeah, it might be the thing.
Good.
But Brooke, I've known you for a long time. Yeah. So we've both been long time attenders of CrossCity, even back in the Northside days.
Yeah.
So how did all of that start for you? Like where did your journey with CrossCity start?
Yeah. I feel like I was basically born into the church. My mom's our children's director there. And so ever since, I haven't known anything different. I've been in the church my whole life.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe there.
My heart's beating so fast.
So
cameras.
much coffee. Yeah, truly, the cameras are scary. I haven't known anything different. I've been in the church my whole life. Grew up there.
Yeah. I put the grew and grew up because my nose is so long. So
it's about true.
So you're truly a lifer. Yeah. My journey didn't start till third grade. So when I don't know if you remember when they first redid the children's center.
Yes.
That's why my parents decided to stay at Northside at the time.
Okay.
Because we are a church who invested in the next generation.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that they really got to experience it. And so that is truly the changing factor in my life. Mm-hmm. And so you've been a part of it a long time. Do you have, what was because the topic of awkwardness was already on our minds. Like, what was the most awkward phase of growing up at the church for you?
Oh my gosh. My most awkward phase. There was a point.
Oh, great. Here we go.
I think junior high might have been a little too old. I think I was in elementary. But I would walk around telling people my mom owned the church and that they were going to fire them, that she could fire them, and that I could just do whatever I wanted. I would walk around and I'd be like, I knew where all the little nooks and crevices were in the church, as you probably did yourself. But
my dad couldn't fire anyone, or my mom couldn't fire anyone.
That's true. Well, my mom doesn't own the church, but I walked around telling everyone, my mom could fire you, and my teachers in my elementary classroom would be like, whoa, your mom is not that, can't fire anyone.
Your mom is not that guy, pal.
Yeah, truly. And so I think that was a pretty brutal stage, walking around telling everyone that my mom could fire them and I could do whatever I wanted. So kind of sounds similar to how you walked around.
I couldn't fire anybody, but I did do whatever I wanted.
That's true.
And I knew I probably shouldn't, but I did it anyway. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. So that was I don't know if that was my most awkward moments. I created them for other people. I printed them for other people. Yeah. I just didn't feel any shame.
I thought of another one right now.
Oh.
Yeah. It just popped in my head. John Richardson. I don't know if I can name drop in this podcast,
you did. So.
I did. John Richardson, I think I was like a freshman. And I don't know why, but I was so terrified of upperclassmen.
And John Richardson was our high school pastor.
Yeah. Yes. I think I was a freshman when you were a junior.
I graduated 2014, so...
16?
So yes, you would have been, 2 years younger.
Yeah, so I was a freshman when you were a junior, whatever. And this one Halloween, he did a, bobbing for apples and baked beans. Oh. And I don't know why, but my freshman year, I was pretty awkward, as we are freshman year. It happens. Yeah. But I came, everyone was dressed in, Gru costumes or like a minion, like something crazy. And I show up in this whole princess outfit. Freshman year, like I had my makeup done nice. I felt like I was like so cool. And we went bobbing for apples and baked beans. And I was still a bro, but I was dressed like.
But you were not dressed
like a bro.
in
my nines. Yeah. And so I went bobbing for apples and baked beans, and I was so embarrassed afterwards.
Yeah.
So not a crazy story, but
now you get paid to do that. Basically, it's crazy how the world works.
Foreshadowing for later.
That's so funny. Yeah, I remember those days. I really wasn't involved in high school until I was a sophomore. It was like my sophomore year when my life kind of really, like, I went on my first church trip. Fun fact, this might be, I don't know. I was a troublemaker. And my first church trip, my friends and I got in trouble. And so we had to clean the bathrooms. And somebody left a turd in the toilet so big that my friend had to scoop it out with a spoon. So I just got lucky. I chose the right stall that day.
That's crazy. That's horrible.
Yeah, now we go to camps that kind of have people that do all of that stuff. Hopefully that doesn't happen every week. But
was that fall retreat?
No, that was
Pismo trip?
No, we went to Santa Cruz once or twice, and I wanted to go to Great America and the beach boardwalk, and so that's what we did. And
there it is.
And of course the toilet. So it was a dream.
Fall retreat was so fun.
I know.
Were you there?
I was there 2012.
Okay.
I think.
I don't know where.
2012 and 2013.
I like truly feel like I don't remember half my life.
I remember almost nothing.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Like you say a story and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't remember any of my childhood.
Well, I mean,
I
remember bits and pieces. I also feel
but
like I go through like not very vivid memories.
Yeah.
And extremely vivid. Like I still feel
fair.
like how I felt in the moment when I was going through some of that stuff. Like there's certain conversations. Like I remember having conversations with John, because John was the person in my life that really introduced me to Jesus and why I should love him. And I remember having conversations with him, and he would leave his Facebook open on his computer, and I'd like do toilet paper reviews and sneak into his office. And but I remember the conversations that I would have that, like, even though I was like pranking him 24/7 and was a menace to him,
for sure,
I remember those conversations like pretty vividly of him. I mean, a lot of the times it was through the messages that he preached of like, okay, like I do want to live my life for this Jesus guy that he talks about. And at that point, like John was one of the only people in my life that was trying to live it out.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like what in those moments, like who was a person for you that really inspired you to want to know who Jesus is? You know, who's the first person that you remember?
I guess my answer is not a real traditional answer for this, but because my mom did work at the church, I always felt that I couldn't go and talk to anyone, or I couldn't like open up about my life to anyone in the church, because I wasn't always like, I was in the church, but I wasn't like living for God or for Christ. I was kind of just like doing my own thing and kind of living a double life. And so I never felt like there was anyone I can open up to and trust enough where they weren't going to just go tell my mom. Yeah. And I think the leaders in my life, that wasn't their fault. I think that was like the perception I put on them. And so I never really allowed myself to open up enough to anyone. And I think now being in my position and having students in the ministry who have parents who work at the church, I feel like so drawn to them to like have a safe place for them to go where they know that they can like open up, and we aren't just going to go run to their parents and share. Yeah. Because I think that was like exactly what I needed growing up, because I never had a safe person. So I just kept everything inside or went to my friends. Yeah. Which was like terrible advice.
Well, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because my experience, I almost have the complete opposite take of like, I don't know how my parents weren't contacted after some of the stuff that I did.
You're like, wait, we need to be contacting parents.
If I was my youth pastor in this moment, like I would have had a great relationship with my parents.
For sure.
Because I would have been calling them all the time. Yeah. But Yeah. But I feel that because that's me having that room probably is what really fostered the trust that growing up I didn't necessarily have. But for you, like, it was hard to open up. But who, like, did you have somebody later in life that was kind of like that person, or was that person your parents?
So I never had like a specific person at church who had those conversations with me, but just growing up in a Christian household, my mom working at the church, like, my parents always modeled what a good, obedient relationship with Christ looked like.
Honey's just going wild in the room.
My parents always modeled what a good Christian relationship and walk with the Lord looked like. And so I never had a specific person who poured into me directly or I had those conversations with or I would say my parents, because they modeled it of what that looked like. And so that allowed me to look at them and see how they acted in the home, at church and outside the home, and model how they walked with the Lord too.
And not everyone has that. And that's like, I mean, it's truly a gift that you do have that, even though your mom can fire me, you know, because she owns the church. She runs the church, right? But I think that that's a huge gift. And like, that's what we should be passing down. And I mean, most people who listen to this, I don't even know who listens to it at this point.
Yeah, but me and you.
But like, our role is to assist families in raising their kids, not raise them for them. And for some people, they seriously, like, we're just like, yeah, dude, keep going. And other people, we have more support. And that's the balance in knowing all of that.
Totally.
So as you got older, you grew up at the church. I know you went to Buchanan, right? You graduated. What was Buchanan like? When you peaked in life, how was that in high school?
Buchanan was fun. It was a good time. Actually, I hate saying this because people are like, you peaked in high school. That's not true. Maybe, but
I peaked in elementary school.
Yeah.
Third grade math facts, I was the first in my class.
Keaton's like, I still am waiting on my peak.
Well, I think I'm on the slope.
Oh yeah. Buchanan was fun. I loved high school, and I get nervous telling people that because, peak in high school, but it was true. I had a lot of friends. I played soccer, so I had my soccer community. I played track. All of it was just like really fun, and I felt very like carefree in high school. I did good in school, but I didn't take it too seriously. I did one AP class. I almost didn't graduate my senior year because of it.
Dang.
Yeah. Dang. Cheated on my final exam to pass. Probably shouldn't put that in the podcast, but seriously, I wasn't going to graduate high school if I didn't pass that test. So I was like, crazy. I need to do something.
Yeah.
Resort to cheating. So stay in school. But high school was a good time. Play soccer, already said that, all the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I feel like it's kind of similar, but I had like such a eclectic high school experience, just because of family dynamics and family changing and all that stuff. Like, actually this year, so it's been since I'm 29 now, and since I was 16 and I moved out to go play hockey in Washington, this will be the longest, this last like 19 months will be the longest I've lived in the same house since I was 16. Yeah. So
that's wild.
Like, so like really halfway through high school, my life was just like here and there, and just, I never, until September, I will have never lived in one location longer than 18 months.
That's crazy.
So, That's
crazy.
It's, and you've had a little bit of stability.
Totally.
And after high school, what did your life look like? Like, mine was eclectic. I moved everywhere.
For sure.
I did an internship. I went to Ozark for a year.
Yeah.
Full year. Some people try and tell me 1 semester, 2 semesters.
Okay.
And then I came back and they asked me to run the junior high ministry for the summer.
Yeah.
And it's been like 9 years.
Yeah.
And so since I've which is crazy because the church has been the most stable thing in my life.
For sure.
But that's kind of what my after high school experience looked like, was just ruled by eclecticness, but church was the stable force in my life and the people at church. Yeah. For you, what did kind of life after high school, what did life after the peak look like?
So in high school, I was playing soccer. I had a lot of friends, a lot of people. I was always surrounded by people. And my junior year of high school, I was planning on playing soccer for Fresno State. And my junior year of high school, I broke my back while playing soccer. And that kind of like took me out of a lot of things. I couldn't hang out with my friends like I would normally do. I couldn't play soccer. So I didn't lose my friends, but I lost out on like that connection of hanging out with them. Yeah,
you kind of, maybe it's like your identity or your social circle was through your team.
Totally. Through my team, through my friends. And I was in a full body brace for months. So I wasn't able to go out and hang out like a normal junior in high school.
Yeah. So what you just couldn't like walk a long distance or like couldn't do any like physical activity?
Yeah, I couldn't do anything. Yeah. Like I couldn't bend over. I couldn't sit down in a chair. Like my parents had to help me shower. That may be TMI, but like I couldn't do anything. Yeah. I had to have full help from everyone. And so it took me out of a lot. And through that, I feel like I really found out who my friends were in that circle of like people, because I was out of my soccer team who were close friends. You grow to be a family with your sports team. So I lost that. I lost like what I thought my future was going to be, going to play collegiate soccer. I lost not my friends, but I lost out on those like connections and memories hanging out with them when I had to stay back and lay in my bed because I couldn't do anything. So after that, I went to Fresno State. I stayed here and I went to go get my degree in liberal studies, and I kind of just did that, and I worked for 5 years. Yeah.
Served in junior high. Let's go.
I served in junior high. The only reason why I actually served, I don't know if you know this. I was at a church March Madness event with my mom. I was just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I was serving in kids because that's where my mom was. That's all I ever knew. And Scott McNeil, freaking Scott, came up to me and he was like, "Come serve in student ministries." And I said, "Heck no."
Yeah.
And he said, "Come serve in student ministries." I said, "Scott, I will never serve in student ministries." Here we are, working in student ministries. It's so crazy to like look back and think of the things that I said I'd never do. And then the way that the Lord
I know
psyched me out and brought me back to him. It's actually wild. So if you really don't want to do anything, don't say that you're not going to do it, because then it's going to happen in your life.
I feel like God has a sense of humor in that way.
Oh, he for sure does.
Because when I was doing my internship in my freshman year of college, so before I'd even gone to Ozark, I did not want to do junior high ministry. I was like, I think I'm more of a high school guy. And then I got the opportunity to do junior high, and it was like, all right, I guess I'll just do this. And, but then I just fell in love with it. It's like, people said I was one big junior higher for my whole life.
Totally.
And
here you are,
here
9
I am.
years later.
I've spent 11 years in junior high.
Okay, 11.
Well, my 2 plus serving. The 9 that I've served. So
there you go.
Because that is how math works. I think.
Girl math.
Girl math. Yes, girl math. That is fun math.
Yeah.
But I want to jump back to your friendships, because I think that's like a core thing for students is
totally.
You said that you really found out who your friends were that junior year. So I guess a 2-part question. I love 2-part questions.
For sure.
So the first part is...
I'll forget about the first one in the land.
Probably, Do you regret that season of life, or do you have any... do you wish it would have been different? And what did it teach you about friendship after that? How can you be a good friend? Yeah.
So I think, I hope I know. If I skip one, just let me know. My friendships, I felt so desperate to fit in and to be surrounded by people, because I think I had this like longing to be loved and desire to be like loved and accepted by people. So I would do whatever everyone around me was doing to fit in. And so I think like at that time with my friends, they started going to parties and drinking and smoking, whatever, and doing like all those things. And I wanted to fit in so bad that I was willing to do whatever I could to fit in with them. And I think like my mom and my dad were always so present and like such great like
Yeah.
followers of Jesus, but they were also still my parents. And so I was so nervous to like share with them some of these like things that I felt were going on in my life, or these temptations that I felt. And I didn't have another third party like small group leader or person who I could go to talk about this. And so I really just did whatever my friends were doing to fit in. And so I think having that person that you can talk to and like process things with is so important. And also like knowing my worth only came from the Lord, you know, and I put everything into everyone else. And I think that led to some poor relationships. I think that led to me feeling even more like worthless, because when you put all your worth in other people, you're going to be left
Empty.
with always constantly wanting more, because it's not fulfilling. And so I think, what was the second part of the question?
What was the important part of how, like, it was something along the lines of, even I forgot the second part.
Shoot.
But what did it teach you about you being a good friend? Like, how did that season formulate how you wanted to be a friend?
For sure. I think I way tangented off. Back to my broken back.
Yeah.
I think back to when I was in my full body brace, and when I broke my back and I felt like everything was kind of taken away from me, like I needed my friends to like step up and come around me and surround me and be there for me. And I feel like some of them were, and then some of them, you know, were just onto the things that they wanted to go do. And I feel like that really taught me how to like show up and be there for people. And it was almost like a selfish thing too, of like, sure, some friends rather have gone and done something else fun that I couldn't go to, but then there were those people who were like there, who would come just sit with me and be with me in my time of need, and that meant the most. Yeah. You know?
100%. All right, so we talked about friends, we talked about your back brace.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. We talked about, like how do you want those friendships to be in your life? So you went to college, you were still in town, and you were serving in junior high, but like, how'd you get from serving to wanting to go into actual ministry?
Totally. I think like in my serving years, I have a lot of like conjumbled mess that happened in my life. Yeah. In between there and like wanting to go into ministry, I think, shoot, I keep dropping things. So when I was in college, I was still serving in the ministry, and I think those friends, I'll start here and I'll come like circle back. Yeah. Okay. So those friends in high school, I had a really good small group in student ministries in high school. We were really like tight knit and close. We did everything together, the guys and the girls. We just were like this big group of friends that hung out all the time. I had people, like-minded believers, but then I had this whole separate group of friends at school. Yeah. And so kind of when I graduated and left student ministries, I didn't have those church friends anymore. And I was only left with my high school friends, which didn't make the best decisions. Yeah. The friends that I wanted and felt like I had to try to fit in with, where I naturally fit in with my church friends. I hate kind of calling it church friends. That's part of the struggle is of where
you compartmentalized.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. My church friends, my school friends. And I think when I graduated and went into college, I again was desperate to be around people where I had those church circle of friends who we did everything with. And so in college, I naturally drifted towards my school friends and made some poor choices, and was hanging out in places I shouldn't been, doing things I shouldn't have been, all while still serving in the ministry. And I was living a double life. I was doing both, and what I thought both would be fulfilling.
So you were living like a super you were trying to live a fulfilling life where you're doing two things, and it just wasn't fulfilling when you were trying to do both. So how did that
Well, I didn't have good godly friends pointing me back to truth. You know, I had these friends who told me like, oh, just come out and do these things, feel loved by this person. If you're heartbroken, do like whatever, you know? And so I didn't have good godly people pointing me back to scripture and God's word and his truth and the true things that will fulfill you, you know? And so, I was left just kind of wandering, doing my own thing while serving and trying to serve these students. Telling them don't do these things, but I was on the other hand doing them, you know. This might not be good.
It's real.
It's real. And so what am I trying to say? I didn't have these good friends. I didn't have the good godly people in my life.
Well, it sounds like you were around a lot of them, but you didn't let them in.
Totally. So I was kind of on my own. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have like good godly people in my life. And so I went away and I would work at a Christian camp. I work at Sugar Pine, shout out, over the summer. And I would do that. And how about this? Mountaintop experience for the Lord over summer, you know. It's like your Winka camp. I had a whole summer. I'd come home and I'd do that year all over again. Hanging out with the wrong people, doing the wrong things, serving on the weekends, going to church. And then I did it again. I went away, worked at Sugar Pine for my second summer, and then came back and I would do it all over again. All the same things, just living the same life. And eventually one of my friends came to me and was like, Brooke, like you are a godly woman who loves the Lord, but you are putting yourself in places that you should not be. And you are doing things that you should not be doing. And you are not representing Christ well. And I was leading a co-ed life group at the time. I was serving in junior high or high school. And I was like pouring into these people, but I was like so dry. And so they called me out and was just like, you are better. And from that moment on, I like really took a step back and like examined, what am I doing with myself? Like, am I going to continue telling these people and like trying to lead these people when like I can't lead my own self at this point? And so I really took a step back, and I took a step back from not necessarily leading, but I think I actually did for
take a break
like a
for
summer. I took a break from leading. I stopped co-leading the life group, and I really focused on myself and my relationship with God. And I examined like, am I gonna do this? You know, like, am I gonna be all in? Like, what example of life, or what kind of life do I want to live? Do I want to live a life like fully in pursuit of the Lord, walking in obedience of him? Or do I want to live for myself? That I have been doing I keep using the word unfulfilling, but I think that's what we all crave, is purpose and fulfillment. And I was seeking after all these things where I thought would fill me.
Yeah, and you went through that period of time where you were trying to do both. You were trying to be fulfilled
for sure
by both serving in the church and having that eternal purpose, but also you're trying to be fulfilled by the world at the same time. And
for sure,
those two worlds clash.
For sure. And so I think once my friend called me out, I really reevaluated what I was doing with my life. And again, Scott McNeil, he's gotten too many shout outs. He's gotten too many shout outs in this.
We'll use a code name from now on.
Yeah, I think this is the last time we'll mention him.
Mott's McNeil.
Yeah, truly. But him and I just sat down for coffee, I think, when I was taking my break from serving. And he was like, what do you want to do? Like, and he also was like, what is stopping you? Because I was very passionate about camp ministry. I loved it. And he was like, what's stopping you from applying to every summer camp in the country? Yeah. I was single. I graduated from college. I had nothing holding me back. Yeah. And I thought about it. And from then on, I literally applied everywhere. Yeah. I just applied. I got myself out there. And literally the Lord just continued to open doors, and opened a door up at Mount Hermon for me to work up at Ponderosa, our junior high and high school camp up there, and help lead the team up there. And I worked there for 3 summers and throughout the year on full time. And I loved it. It was the best. And I think like when people ask like, when did you know God called you into ministry? For me, there was never like a moment where I felt like God has called me into ministry. And some people have that of like, I felt God call me into ministry at camp, or I felt him in my quiet time here. But for me, that was never my experience, and it feels weird. And I think for a while I felt like, is there something wrong with me? Like, why have I not had this huge calling from God? Like, am I? But I think like through my time in ministry, like the Lord has shown me and taught me that everyone's story is different. We were just talking about that, but also like it wasn't that big calling, but it was just one small step of obedience at a time. And like the Lord has opened up the doors, and that I have a heart for him. I have a heart for service, and he brought me to Mount Hermon and made that very clear, you know, and doing ministry there then led to the opportunity to come do ministry at CrossCity and be in the position that I am today. And so I see the way that he's moved. I've seen the way he's called me into ministry without that huge booming factor that I think people think that is God only speaks in that one way, right? And so I hope that people can like see too that like God doesn't work in one way, you know, and he speaks to each of us differently. Like your calling to ministry may look way different than mine. And may look way different than Scott McDeal. One more time. That's it, Scott.
Done with that guy.
But I think it is like encouraging. And once I recognize for myself that like the Lord speaks to me very different than someone else, that can also be encouraging to other people to know that like,
like
for sure.
well, everyone ministers to different people. Like we've talked about that. Like I talk about this a lot of the times to new small group leaders, because I think the temptation, or somebody who wants to serve, the temptation is to be the small group leader that everyone loves.
Totally.
Not everyone's going to love you.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone loves me. Not everyone loves you. Not everyone loves even Scott McNeil. All right.
What?
Yeah, but we don't need a bunch of the same people.
Totally.
But we do need a bunch of the same people pointing towards God.
Yes.
And that's
because everyone's different. So everyone needs different people to relate with differently, have different experiences of life. And I think that's what makes it so special and unique. And even our team so special and unique is we're so different.
We are. And like the amount of times where it's like, it's just so evident that the team is what's so important, is the amount of times that we are saying and communicating the same thing in 3 or 4 different ways. And then it takes us like 5 minutes to realize we're all saying the same thing.
Literally this morning.
And like every other meeting ever. But the amount of times that happens, it's how often is that happening in our small groups when we're explaining the gospel or explaining this is how you live and it's, hey, this person just makes sense to me. This person knows me so well that they're able to say it in my language. And that's like still something that it takes time to know people that well. It takes time to become a person who can do that. And so whether you're in ministry or deciding, you know, where in ministry where you want to be, it takes time to figure that out. And, I mentioned earlier, like I didn't want to be the junior high guy, it just kind of found me. And my journey into, you know, ministry was, I thought it'd be cool to be a history teacher like my dad, and I loved church. I wasn't always around, but I thought it would be cool to go one of those routes, and then the doors just kept opening for me to walk through them. And that's I wouldn't necessarily say like I had like a distinct calling, like you mentioned, like you're gonna go into ministry, and it's like this big romanticized idea.
100%.
But the doors kept opening, and the reality is no matter what we're doing, we should be ministering to people. Whether that's me as a teacher, whether that was me in my photography life and stuff like that. But like, I'm paid to minister to people, and that's pretty sick.
Totally.
And I love getting to do that. And like, that's the calling. Is sometimes, at times even, I've had to be a pastor who does photography on the side so that I could still be a pastor.
For sure.
But the core thing is, do I want people to know the Lord? And I think if you're thinking about going into ministry, is like that the core thing that you want to dedicate your life to, and seek out support to do that full time.
Yeah.
And that's easier said than done. Like it's a journey, but and everyone's got a testimony. And then I feel like part 2 to a testimony is, you know, discovering where in God's kingdom he wants you to be and how he wants you to utilize your specific gifts.
Totally.
So I think that there's a lot of things that I can do better than people. Most of those things are completely useless. And
like World War II history.
World War II history.
Yeah.
What was the thing that I said at lunch today with the team? Oh, it was the Chick-fil-A drive-through thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where
knowing the efficiency of drive-through lines. Yeah.
Chick-fil-A drive-throughs, they want to get a car through every 38 seconds. Thank you, TikTok.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know lots of useless information.
Sure.
But there's so many people who can do so many other things better than me.
Yeah.
And that's why God wants us to be together, wants us to operate in community, but how are we contributing to that community?
For sure.
And ministry is just doing it full time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you have anything else that you... the question I always end on.
Okay.
So I feel like this is a good stopping point
to
kind of wrap things up.
Okay.
What is one piece of advice that you can give the next generation to become less? How can you become less, based on your testimony, how can you become less and make God more? I probably worded that poorly. Based on your testimony, what is something that somebody from the next generation can learn from you?
That's even a bigger question.
I know.
Two things. I'd say having people in your life or being the person in someone else's life who will show up for them when they are in need. And then in return, like having people who will show up for you when you're in need. And I think that all comes down to like selflessness, you know, selflessness towards others, selflessness to ourselves, putting others before ourselves. And then 330, our tagline is he will become more, we will become less. And putting God above everything else. Like, I think the Lord drew me closer to him. I don't want to say. Well, the Lord drew me closer to him by allowing me to go through the injury that I did. I think I was putting soccer and my career and my future in that over him. And I think he turned my affection towards him. And I think he taught me that he is better, you know, and that my worth is in him alone, not in my friends, not in the sport I play, not in popularity, not in anything like that. And my worth and my value is in him and him alone, and that we are sons and daughters of him. And I think having people who come alongside you and support you and show up for you in that, pointing you back to the truth, is like the best gift you could have.
It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And if you want to strive to have that in your life, you have to become that for other people.
For sure.
And that is the tougher part.
The hardest part.
Other than the waiting.
For sure.
Especially if you're a Tom Petty fan, the waiting is the hardest part. So.
Still don't get that reference.
Well.
I'm too old.
No, you're too young. You're too young.
Okay.
It's like parents or music our parents listen to.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I know who like Tom Petty is, so I don't get the reference.
Yeah.
So.
Can't win them all. All right.